Hey guys, today we are doing a leg day exercise tier list. It's going to be me ranking some exercises, how good they are, and this is based purely for bodybuilding, purely for hypertrophy, growing as much muscle as you possibly can. Not to do with sports, not to do with, athleticism or strength or functionality, nothing like that. Purely for muscle building. So, yeah, and it's my personal opinion. So if you try one of these and you absolutely love it, don't let another person tell you that you can't do it. Go for it. If you love it, if you get good results, smash it. But if you want some good ideas or you just want to see what I think, then this is my opinion on these exercises. And we'll get right into it. So starting off, we have the barbell back squat. Right, that's a big one to start with. Now, we've got Tom Platz there doing it himself, the legend himself. And I'm going to go into that. So barbell back squat, if you're like Tom Platz and you can high bar squat where the bar is on the top of your traps and you can keep it straight back and you can squat to depth, you feel really comfortable and you rarely feel it in your quads and they're growing like crazy, don't stop. You do that, amazing exercise. It's probably the best exercise for progressively overloading. You can always add weight to the bar, always. And you can grow some massive quads doing it. That's probably the most traditional leg day exercise there is. If you look at all the bodybuilders in the past, most of them were big legs, built it with normal barbell squats. We'll come on to hack squats later. But does that mean there's not better options? Definitely not. For me personally, like I said, if you can high bar squat, amazing, fine. If you can't, if you're not comfortable in that position, if your limbs aren't proportioned in that way, it's definitely not a good option. For me, I did not see much leg growth from barbell back squat. I got stronger. You can definitely, it's one of the best exercises you can do for strength. It incorporates a lot of muscles and you can put a lot of weight in the bar, like I said. So it's a very good exercise of strength. But when it comes to building big quads, I just think there's far better. If you give me a hack squat or a barbell back squat, I'm choosing the hack squat every single time. So for that reason, because it's very subjective, I'm going to put it in A tier. I mean, I was thinking about B, but it's not quite that bad. You can definitely build some amazing legs of it. I'm going to put it in A tier. I think that's fair. What do we have next? Split squats, Bulgarian split squats. Wow, that is an exercise, that's for sure. It's definitely an exercise. If you've ever done these, I'm sure you'll know that they're probably the most painful exercise you can do in the gym. Now, does that necessarily mean they build the most muscle? No, but they're amazing if you have imbalances in your legs. So if one of your legs is built, bigger than the other one, which is natural, pretty much all body parts have imbalances. But if you have a noticeable imbalance, one that's quite large, this is a great exercise to isolate each leg and grow them, to be the same. So what you'll do is you'll choose your weaker leg. You'll do as many reps as you can on that leg and then match it on the other leg. So you know that they're getting the same amount of workload done. Very good exercise, hard to recover from because of it's a very hard exercise to recover from. But I mean, if you got strong on these and did these week after week, you'd build an amazingly sized quads. Next we have calf raises. There's only one type of calf raise in this tier list, which is annoying. But I will say, let's assume this one is the machine, a cable stack with a plate at the bottom, just a normal traditional calf raise. And for that, it's going straight in S tier. Now, there's an big argument recently about whether you should do seated or standing calf raises. I mean, people say you should try both. And if you really connect with the seated version, then definitely keep doing it. Again, like I said at the start, if you feel something really well and you're growing lots of muscle, don't change because of the new science literature. Do what feels good for you. But in terms of scientifically which one's better, there's a lot of research now about the standing, when your legs are straight and not a bent leg, that is better for the calves. So for that, it's going to S tier. It's a very good exercise if you really focus on getting a full depth, not just ego lifting the top half of the rep. That's a complete waste of time. I've never seen someone do that and have big calves, not unless they're fat. But if you want big muscular defined calves, full range of motion, train them like any other body part, just as intense. Don't just chuck a few sets at the end of your session, like you do with forearms or abs or whatever. Train them like a proper muscle group train them hard, train them often, and you'll get a massive set of calves. It's not all genetic. There's definitely room for growth. Now, next we have is that a deadlift? Yeah, that's a deadlift. Deadlift for leg day. That's a tough one. Stiff-legged deadlift, incredible for hamstrings. I do that. I love that exercise, but it doesn't look like this is a stiff-legged one. It looks like this is a normal, conventional deadlift. I'm going to put it in C tier. If you were to just deadlift for the next 6 months, I don't think you'd come back with significantly bigger gains. You know, I don't think you'd have bigger legs, more defined legs. I think it's just not the best exercise for that. But does it build leg muscle? Sure, I'm sure it does a little bit. But for me personally, it's more based on how you do it. You know, if you're more of a squat deadlifter where you squat down and sort of squat the bar up, then I suppose it would have more. But there's far better options. No one chooses a deadlift to build big quads. That's not how it works. Next we have a goblet squat. This one is, I'm going to put it in D tier. There's just so many better options. I guarantee your legs are stronger than your arms. No matter who you are, whether you've lifted a weight in your entire life, your legs are much stronger than your arms. You know, that's why the bench press world record is far, far lower than the squat world record. So if you're limited by how much weight you could hold in front of you, you know, for a long period of time, then you're not going to be limited by your quads, which means you could be getting more stimulus because you could be lifting heavier weights and you could be doing, you know, more intense sets. So there's absolutely no point to doing that. I mean, if it's all you have at your house, you know, then you've got a home gym or whatever, then it's kind of what you're going to make do with. But it's definitely, there's just far better options. If you can choose something where your legs will be the limiting factor, that's probably the most fundamental part of any exercise, really. So that's definitely going in D tier. Next we have the hack squat. The hack squat is probably my favourite quad exercise of all time. It's a very good exercise, very stable. You're not going to be wobbling about, you know, worrying about that. You can put a lot of weight on the bar. Obviously, depending on the inclination of the hack squat will, you know, dictate how much weight you can put on the bar. The steeper it is, the less weight you can do. But regardless, you can, you know, put a lot of weight in the bar. You can progressively overload very easily. And it's safe if you fail. One thing I hate about barbell squats, if I fail my rep on the last one, it's much harder to safely, you know, exit the lift. You have to set up your safety racks or get good at bailing. There's just so many more parameters than a hack squat where if you fail, you just hit the bottom. Simple as that. And you can get out and, you know, put it back to the top. You're fine. So for me, mentally, I find I can train much closer to failure on a hack squat because I'm not worried about injuring myself anywhere near as much. On to the next one. We have, is it a leg curl or leg extension? I think that is a leg curl. Leg curls for hamstrings are probably the best hamstring movement you can do. Pair that with a heavy pulling movement such as an RDL or a stiff-legged deadlift, and you've got an amazing combo for hamstrings. This is a staple. I've done it all the time, always will do it. You know, progressively overload, focus on your form, rarely let your legs come up slowly towards the top part of the range of motion, control the weight, you'll get a massive hamstring. Simple as that. It's, you know, it's quite an easy one. Once you get the feel for it and don't, you know, get a few sessions under your belt with it, you'll love it, honestly, you won't go back. The adductor and was it adductor and abductor? Yeah, they're the ones. These two are always worth doing. Those little muscles, well, not little muscles, but I'm saying those muscles that you don't think about in your mind, those less prioritized muscles, always help to develop them, makes you stand out from other people. If you get two guys next to each other and they've both got the same size quads, and then one of them has been training these exercises loads, you're going to notice that, you know, extra little thing more than just a standard, you know, size leg. So I'll put both of these in B tier. If you don't do them, it's not gonna ruin your legs. You know what I mean? You'll still get massive legs, but if you do them, they can be handy. They're worth doing. Next, hip thrusts, A tier exercise. Again, glutes are often neglected. If you're doing lots of machine squats and things, you won't get as much glute activation. So doing something like a hip thrust or a heavy pulling movement like a deadlift can definitely help to bring up those, you know, glutes. Most people, at least my trainer thought there. But yeah, hip thrust is amazing. Smith machine's probably a little bit better, but a lot of gyms the bar doesn't go that low on the Smith machine, so I understand if you're limited by equipment. But amazing exercise. Focus on progressively overloading, not just doing ridiculous weights, and yeah, make sure you control the weight, not just doing stupid heavy as you possibly can. You know what I mean? Trying to impress everyone. Leg extensions, Esther. They train a quad muscle. I can't remember which one it is off the top of my head, but it trains a quad muscle which no other pressing movements do for quads. So it's very important that you do them, just to build up that extra bit of the quad and make it more full. On to the next one, we have is that a pendulum squat? Pendulum squat, very good exercise. It's a very heavy exercise. If you've ever tried to do a pendulum squat, you'll know that you can't put much weight on that. If you do, then you're an absolute beast. But it's a very good quad exercise, really isolates them. Same merits as the hack squat, where you can really focus on the contraction of the muscle and not so much about stability. You can safely fail if you hit the bottom, you just get out. Easy to progressively overload, just an amazing exercise. That's going next here. Hack squat and pendulum squat, probably the two best things you can do for quads, in my opinion. Obviously, if you think something else feels better, then do that. RDL, or maybe a stiff-legged deadlift, that is, I'm not too sure. Either way, some sort of hamstring pulling movement. Esther, 100%. That and a leg curl, such a good combination. You're not going to go wrong with that, to be honest. If you do them two, progressively overload them, and make sure you feel them properly. You're not just pulling your lower back or something stupid like that. You'll have massive hamstrings. So it's simple as that, and there's not much to go on that. And finally, we have the Smith squat. The Smith squat is a tricky one for me. I know a lot of people rarely do like it, and it's an amazing exercise, but I always find that when I'm doing it, it just doesn't feel quite right. But that's maybe just my personal thing, and maybe you looking at me going, what are you talking about? I've built massive legs using this. And of course you can. But I always find I need to put a plate below my feet to sort of give myself an extra bit of support for my ankles. I don't know if like standing flat-footed under a Smith squat and trying to squat without moving the bar forward, it's quite a hard thing to do. For me anyway. It depends how you're built, I suppose. But for me, I'll put it in A tier. It's not as good as these ones in S tier. It's definitely above a normal barbell back squat because of the stability factor, and also if you fail, you can just rack it at the bottom, which is very convenient. But it's not quite on the level of these ones at the top that I've done here. But yeah, that's everything. Missed out a leg press there. I would like the leg press. I thought there was. I'd definitely put that in S tier. A leg press is an amazing movement. If you really focus on getting that full depth, not just bend your knees a little bit and put as much weight as you can on, then it can be an amazing exercise. A little bit harder to fail on. You don't want to fail in a leg press. It's probably the worst one you can fail on. But if you have a spotter, or if you do, if you train with one rep to failure, it's a very good exercise. I'd probably put that in S tier, to be fair. Depending on the particular leg press, maybe A tier, but most of them probably S tier. But yeah, that's everything. I hope I haven't annoyed too many people with that one. It's quite trending heavy towards the S tier there. There weren't too many silly exercises in the tier list. Stupid ones that you would never do, like step ups or sprints and shit. Stuff that you just don't do for bodybuilding. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you have any comments, or if you have a different opinion to me, I'm sure you'll want to put them in the comments below. Please put your reasonings, and I'll respond to everyone. But thanks for watching, and yeah.